We are official. By the way, I record all my lectures and I put them up on YouTube. So, you know, if somebody's sick, they can always go and not miss my class. And also, if you know, when you're doing the homework, it's sometimes hard to remember everything that I taught because sometimes it's a fairly quick lecture. And then you have a way, you know, going back to it and looking at it. How many people have used the videos at one time or another? Are they useful? I mean, is it helpful to have that access to that? So I started this like 2-3 years ago, and it's just been so effective that I've decided to continue it. And so we're going to talk about unit conversions. And like Gideon keeps asking me, so when is this stuff going to be useful? This stuff is going to be useful. Like every time you bake a cake, right? You're going to need, you know, you're going to have to, you might have to convert, right? Or whenever you do different things, right? You may have to do some converting. And a lot of times, different people have different ways. There are different ways to do conversions. But if you don't have a system, there will always be a place where you wonder, should I be multiplying or should I be dividing, right? And that's the confusing part. And so what I want to teach you is the method. It's actually a method that Saxon teaches. And I actually like it because it always works and it makes so much logical sense that, and it will simplify, because believe me, conversions can get very, very sticky and very tricky. You know, and you'll start to see when we do a few. Assuming I have enough time, I might have to do this. But okay, so what we need to do in order to do a conversion, let's say I wanted to convert 22 centimeters to inches. So let's say I gave you, we'll do this as problem number 1. Convert 22 centimeters to inches.
You need to know how many centimeters.
So you need to have a conversion factor. And you know what? These are big terms. And it doesn't really matter, you know, whether you memorize every term, but you just need to, a conversion factor just says how many inches equals how many centimeters. That's all it is. It's a conversion factor. That's why they call it that. That's why. Brilliant! Oh, sorry. Okay, so we've got to go from inches to centimeters. Does anybody know the conversions?
Would it be, no, it's centimeters to inches, right?
It doesn't matter. What we need to do, we just need to know a conversion that works.
There's 10 centimeters in an inch. No?
Not quite. Anybody know?
Wait.
1 inch.
No, 10 centimeters.
When I write a conversion, I usually write the first one is 1. 1 inch is equal to 2.54 centimeters.
Yep.
Okay? So that, you have to have that in order to do this, right, to solve this. You have to understand that part. And then the method that I use involves using things called unit multipliers. And unit multipliers, again, that's a very big, right, kind of a big word, multipliers. Did I spell that right? I have no idea. Okay, unit multipliers. All they are fractions. Whatever.
You spelled that wrong.
Whatever.
Yeah, the Y's an I.
I think you're right. It does look right that way. Okay. Okay, whatever. Whatever. So a unit multiplier is taking my conversion factor and putting that into a fraction. Actually, I have 2 fractions. And I'm going to actually write both fractions for now. Eventually, you won't have to do 2 fractions. You'll know which fraction to use. But a unit multiplier says either this over this or this over this. Let's think about it. Now, because it's called unit conversions, I have to use the unit. You have to write the unit. You can't just write the number. You have to write the unit. So 1 inch over 2.54 centimeters. And then I write the word or.
Do you have to be exact like that? Or
What do you mean?
do you have to write 2.54 centimeters?
Yes.
Yes.
your 2.53, it will be wrong.
Correct.
Every
Okay.
decimal counts.
Yeah, we're trying to be as exact as possible. So notice I have two unit multipliers. They're fractions. That's all they are. They're really easy, right? I mean, piece of cake. It's that over that or that over that, right? That's easy, right? Well, don't you agree with me? That's pretty easy. Not hard at all, right? Great. What does this equal?
Basically dividing 1 inch by 1 4.
Right. But let me ask another question. What does this equal? Why? Why?
It's the same number and it goes into itself.
So you're saying what's upstairs and what's downstairs are exactly the same thing. Therefore, that equals 1, right? Ah, but this upstairs is exactly the same thing as this downstairs. So technically, this unit multiplier equals 1. What about this one? 1. It's exactly the same thing upstairs and downstairs, right? Exactly the same thing. Therefore, if I multiply anything by one of these, I will not change its value. I will only change the units and the way it looks. But I won't change its value. Because anything multiplied times 1 equals that thing, right? That's all I'm doing. I'm using these as values of 1, weird ones. These are my weird ones.
But the number will change.
That's what they should have called them, weird ones, right? Instead of unit multipliers. What?
The number will change.
Say what?
The number.
The number will change as well. Because there are different numbers upstairs and downstairs, right? So this is the way you do it. You take the number that you've been given and you put it over 1. You always write the centimeter. This is the 1 is the only exception. It's the only place you do not write a unit. Okay, so make sure you write this down in your notes. So 22 cm over 1. That's the only place that you do not put a unit, is that 1. Does that make sense? Now, I am going to multiply this times 1. I'm going to multiply it by one of these ones. Now, which one of those fractions, unit multipliers, would make the centimeters cross out with cross-reducing? So, Lyle. The first one, yes, as long as centimeters is upstairs, right? As long as I have centimeters downstairs, they will cross-reduce, right? You with me? So I'm going to just write that first one. 1 inch over 2.54 centimeters. Okay, now is the fun part.
We just multiply by 1.
Yes, that is the value of 1. But it's not simple like that. You can't just say, oh, well, that times 1 is that. No, we're trying to get rid of the centimeters. So we have to use one of these, right? Are you writing these down?
Yeah.
For sure?
Yep.
Okay, so this is the fun part. Look, centimeter, centimeter, look, cross out, cross out. How many centimeters do I have now? None, right? So now what do I have? I have 22 times 1, so that's 22 inches, divided by 1 times 2.54. Centimeters? No, because I crossed them out. So just divided by 2.54, right? And there's no centimeters, no unit there, right? So all my answer is in inches. So now I get out my calculator. And it's okay to use a calculator for these. Oh, you got it. Okay, what is it? 8.66. Thank you. It's 8.66 what? Inches. Look how easy that was.
Whoa, okay.
Does that make sense?
8.66
Yeah.
repeating or
Makes
is it
sense, right?
8.66?
So when I say convert 22 centimeters to inches, immediately you put the 22 centimeters over a 1. And then you do times. You take your conversion factor, turn it into your 2 unit multipliers, right? Put it here so that if the centimeters upstairs, centimeters are downstairs. So they will cross out. So that's your first example. And I've got enough. Does that make sense? Fist of 5. Do you get it? Does it make sense?
Gary, is the answer
Sort of.
repeating or is
Yes,
it just?
no, maybe so.
8.66 is 1 4 173.
It's not exact. Technically, yeah, Gideon You're right, I should probably do this. Do you guys know what that means?
It means it continues, but it's not the same.
It means it's approximate. That means approximately equal to. And technically, that's more accurate to say that. Because it wasn't 8.66, it was 8.661, blah, 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 blah. Right, kept
The reason
going.
I asked if it was 8.66, then
Mhm.
like you could easily have, it could have easily been feeding for.
Yeah, and I do not want you to give me, I don't want you to go more than to the 100th power, I mean to the 100th place, right? 10, that's your 10th, that's your 100th, I don't want you to go past that. Don't write 8.66174392 or X, I mean whatever, you know, what I mean, don't do that. All right, so number 2. So now I'm going to show you how they might get more complicated. And this is just a simple one. This is not the complicated ones, but this is the simple one. So, and so this says, say, convert 30 feet squared to, where am I?
Why
To inches squared.
Why do you have to make it
Okay?
square?
But it's easy. You're going to see, with this method, you're going to see how easy it is, okay? So, again, oh, feet, sorry, I forgot the T. All right, remember, we're going to use the same process. I take the original thing that they asked me to start with, and I put it over a 1, right? So I'm going to put 30 feet squared over 1, and I'm going to put a times. And I'm going to, now, well, what's my unit multiplier? I mean, my conversion factor is what? In this case, let me erase this.
Would that be,
My conversion factor
1
is
foot is 12 inches.
1 foot.
It's 12 inches.
1 foot equals 12 inches. That's helpful. So then I could either have 1 foot over 12 inches or 12 inches over 1 foot. Right? So which one would get rid of one of my feet?
12 inches over 1 foot.
Right. Oh, and I meant to say one other thing. Sorry, I screwed up on one thing. Don't ever write feet squared. What is feet squared? It's feet times feet, right? So I recommend, don't put feet squared. I recommend put times feet. Feet times feet. Okay? Does that make sense? You see that you know that's what a squared means, right? Feet squared is just feet times feet. That's why it's feet squared, right? So then I'm going to use my multiplier, and what do I have to do downstairs to get rid of my feet? I have to have feet downstairs, so I got to use this one, right? You guys all with me?
Yes.
Totally. Okay. So we got 12 inches over 1 foot. Oh, this is the fun part now, guys. We get to cross out that foot, and we only get to cross out 1 foot.
what's 5
Gary, I only have
Oh,
1 foot
multiply
left.
it by the same thing again. Do the same thing. Same, multiplier again. Over 1 foot. Oh my God, that way I can cross out this one, and I can cross out this one. You with me so far? Does that make sense?
Oh, and then we have
It's
to
really fun,
multiply
actually.
30 by 12.
So,
and then
so
again.
now look, give me like 45 more seconds. We're almost done. So look, do I have any feet left? No, they're all out. All I have is inches times inches, which is what?
306.
Inches squared, right? So I have, in the numerator, I have 30 times 12 times 12. So 30 times 12 times 12. And then I have inches squared, right? All over 1. I don't need to put it over 1, right? I can just leave it like that. And if I multiply that out, I would get 4,320 inches squared. Make sense? Does it, you get it?
Why?
So just realize that when they are feet squared, when any of the units are squared, you are using the unit multiplier twice. If the units were cubed, like volume is cubed, feet, I mean not feet, but, well, it could be. Feet cubed, right? You'd have to use the unit multiplier 3 times. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. That's all you need for now.
Very-
So
we have to-
homework,